What is going on, YouTube? So, we got a special topic to talk about today that most people usually see in a positive light, but in all actuality, isn't not that positive. And today, what we're going to talk about is nostalgia. Now, I could go over a bunch of stories about what I'm nostalgic for, obviously with video games, cards, and everything that's related. But what I want to talk a little bit today is about the other aspect of nostalgia. In the past, I've had a commenter or two that's actually pointed this out to me, and it's been on my list to talk about for a while. But this just made me think about it the other day because I've been seeing some posts lately, people just like kind of pointing some things out. One of them was hearing a mourning dove in the morning and instantly being brought back to your childhood, because it just feels like as the older we get, the more caught up in stuff we get, something as simple as that can easily take us back. And then on top of that, one was posted the other day. It was somebody took a picture of the clouds, and they posted that I don't remember the clouds ever looking like this ever since I was a kid. And for most people, they might think, oh, that's awesome. You reverted back to your childhood or something like that. You were nostalgic for the clouds. But then it got me thinking. I'm just sitting there like, man, that's nuts. Like, just almost a depression, almost like sad to think about that. And what we're gonna look at right now is I found this thing on the website, on the interweb. And this is just kind of a history of the word of nostalgia. So, an entry was back in 1726. It was a morbid longing to return to one's home or native country. Severe homesickness considered a disease. So I just kind of looked on a little bit more, and then there's actually cases of, I'm wondering if we can see it here. I just kind of okay. This is right down here. In the first 2 years of war, there was reported 2588 cases of nostalgia and 13 deaths from this. I don't know how this, I've never almost died from nostalgia, so I don't know how that goes. But this is what my subscriber had pointed out. It came from the Greek word algos, which is pain, grief, and distress. See algia. Nostos just means homecoming. So a lot of these guys, when it's talking about this, just seems like, either being brought from your home for war, being taken from your home because invaders and stuff like that. And nostalgia was just made to basically reminisce about your homeland. Now, a lot of days we do it with items and material objects, which is different. But this is what I kind of noticed down here. Yeah, here we go. Another case of a characteristic of or affected with nostalgia, aka homesick. 1756 is once again related to the word homesick. And there was one down here where I noticed one earlier. I lost it, but there was one that was actually related more to the modern day. I don't know. I can't find it now, so we'll just go back to whatever. So basically, originally this word came from almost a depression state. I mean, generally, when we feel nostalgia about an item, my first instinct, anyways, is to feel kind of joy, and I think it just makes me remember the good times, and bring, like you see Super Mario Brothers 3, you see something like that, you're instantly just brought back to being a kid and playing Super Mario Brothers 3. But like I said the other day, when I had noticed that person had commented that picture that said with the picture of the clouds, and it says, I don't remember the clouds looking like this ever since I was a kid. And it really just kind of brought me back to, the afternoon of being bored, nothing better to do. We would sometimes go down like the football field, mess around, and then when we get so tired from running around, we just kind of lay down on the football field and just stare at the clouds. And it instantly, like I said, brought me back to that. And at first it was kind of a good feeling, but then after a while, it just made me think about all the struggles I have with life right now, being an adult, my bills. And so I'm not saying that, I have a bad life or anything that related to that, but it's just like the bills and stuff that are going on with life, all the stuff that's happening. Life becomes so fast paced that it brings you back to instantly being like younger and having less worries and just being chill and hanging out on the football field. And I think a lot of people can relate to this, especially people that have probably childhood trauma and everything that has to deal with that. I bet instantly, a lot of people revert back to that childhood state of mind. I think a lot of times that's what I'm trying to do with video games and some of my hobbies is reverting back to when I was younger, and it's just nuts, guys. I want to know what your guys' thoughts are on this. Some people probably see this as a negative, whereas others, of course, see it as a positive. I guess, like I said, I can see people that have had a good upbringing, had a great childhood and stuff like that, not seeing any reason to not enjoy this. But it's just nuts. And we all thrive in nostalgia, don't we? I think that, like I said it here, the big thing was homesick. Even when you're on vacation, you're visiting people. You see something that reminds you of home, and you do become nostalgic for it. Whether it be family members or pets, or just like the certain smells. It's just weird how the brain works. You can't sometimes remember stuff on the fly, but even something as simple as a smell can bring you back to being a child again. I remember there was one day where I just I smelled something, and it brought me back to, it had that certain scent that reminded me of a childhood friend's house. When you'd come into the entryway, it was like a mix between cigarettes and dog. It was really weird, but it just instantly reminded me of when I would come over to his house when I was a kid, and I'd have to go through that entryway. And then, yeah, it's nuts. So, but otherwise, guys, I mean, nostalgia is not always bad. Like I said, there is times where you will play a video game or anything like that, and if you are struggling with stuff that is going on in life, I feel like it instantly brings you back to something that might kind of mellow you out and remind you how good some things are. And let's face it, I mean, homesickness and stuff like that sucks. It really does. Whether you're being forced to move from where you are, you grow up and you go off to college and you move away, or you just get a new job and you just don't come back to where you originally grew up at. It's just nuts to think about sometimes how life just gets moving so fast, and we need these little nuggets, we need these little games, we need these cards, we need these smells, we need whatever it is to bring us kind of some more just forgetting about life. But yeah, I want to know what you guys think about this. This is just a video. I know it's probably just kind of, it's gonna be off subject. I know a lot of people sometimes they like these videos because it makes sense to them, and it is talking about real stuff. We're being raw. Let's face it. This is real. Nostalgia is pain for some people. But I think it is good to talk about, good to listen to. Some haters and stuff will point out just talking about how, I don't know, low energy and depressing videos like this are. But sometimes it just makes more sense to people and really gets you thinking about stuff that if you're struggling with something and you don't know why, and you hear a video like this where somebody else has the same issues, it really kind of helps you in the long run. I know it does me anyway. So with that being said, guys, let me know in the comments below what you thought about this. Do you sometimes feel like nostalgia is good to begin with, and then really just kind of reminds you how crappy life can be and how once it was good? Or is it the exact opposite? How is life really good now, and nostalgia for certain things really just make you, in pain? Let's see. Comment below, guys. As always, stay retro, my friends. God bless.